Welcome to the Women and Wealth podcast with Esther Szabo. Esther is a respected leader in the field of personal financial advice with over 25 years of experience. After going through her own significant and challenging life-changing events, she overcame fear and self-doubt to launch her own successful advisory firm. Now Esther is ready to share her practical and personal experiences to help other women clear their hurdles and brave life's transitions. In this way, she inspires women to lead fulfilling and confident lives.
Hello and welcome to Women and Wealth with Esther Szabo from Gates Pass Advisor. Esther, how are you?
Good morning, Eric. It's early-ish morning here for me. Usually not the time we podcast, but I'm so excited to have our guest. I would do anything to change my schedule to have her on. So I am doing great. I'm very excited.
That is fantastic. And I know that you have a guest and she is fantastic. I've heard many good things. I'm just going to read the quick bio if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Because the audience needs to know who we're going to be hearing from today. And your guest is Dr. Barbara Provost, and she is a founder of Purse Strings. Her mission is to provide resources to women that help them make good financial decisions and to provide financial professionals who can help them plan for a wonderful financial future. Her ultimate goal is for all women to be financially fearless. I love that last sentence. That's absolutely amazing to me. The first thing I picture is this huge lion. Being financially fearless, I think, wraps that entire bio up in one couple words.
I know, it's great. I picture like a Wonder Woman type of like stance of
Absolutely.
I've got this.
All right. So how did you and Dr. Barbara Provost get connected?
I think we got connected through social media. I believe that that's what it was. I just really was intrigued by her bio and what she was doing. And so, Barbara, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Oh, thank you, Esther. I welcome the opportunity to share Purse Strings with everyone.
Well, great. What inspired you to start it? Tell us about this.
Well, it's been kind of in my thought process for a very long time while I was consulting for financial institutions as an adult educator, designing and developing a lot of content for their sales force. And during that time, I could see over and over their sales processes, their marketing materials, the way they approached their consumer didn't really align with me as a woman. Mm-hmm. And I questioned if it would align with other women as well. So it set me on kind of a venture to really investigate, were they serving a female market and were women getting what they needed from the financial industry?
Mm-hmm. And just curious, like, were the types of things that didn't resonate for you, and what were the things you were looking to hear or see more?
Yes, a lot of them. I could almost not unsee it. First of all, the sales process oftentimes is very linear. It's about making sure you end that sale with selling a product. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes women don't make a purchase on their first go round. Many times, we might go through a shopping mall, like I say, looking for a black skirt and try on several black skirts. And for lots of reasons, determined they're pretty good and we know where they are now, but we may leave the mall without a black skirt, only to know that we know where one is. And if one's lingering in our thoughts, oh, that one over at that store, I think that's the one I'll go back and get. And they'll go get it. But within a financial conversation, what I saw was it was end the call or end the meeting by selling a product. And many people, AKA gentlemen at the time that were mostly in my audience, would say to one another, if they don't make a purchase, I just move on. So never really giving women time to really think and consider and ask the questions they needed in the sale. So that was the first biggest thing that I saw. Then what I saw was a lot of the marketing materials would often be something like a white man and a white woman holding hands, skipping down the beach with each one little boy and one little girl. And they were oh so happy. And, I just look at that and my eyes cross because that's not real. It's not life. If that's your consumer, it's not me, wasn't me, and it's not a lot of women. So I often saw that type of marketing over and over and over again and thought, what's engaging about this? And I remember even asking this producer, so who's this product for? And they said, oh, so for anybody, for you, for me. And I was like, oh, this is for me? Oh, I thought that was for married couples. I wasn't married at the time. So things like that I saw over and over and over again where I thought, wow, we're missing the mark on this.
Yeah, it's like the vision being projected didn't resonate with what was going on in your life or
Right.
many people's lives that you know, many women's lives. And you wanted to step in and enlarge the screen, so to speak, enlarge the possibilities.
Right. It wasn't even not resonating. It was turning people off.
Yeah.
I showed it to another woman. I just pointed to it and she's like, yeah, I just got divorced. That kind of pisses me off.
Mm.
You know, that's what the pictures that they continuously were showing. So it shouts, this is not for you unless you look like this.
So with that, how did you get from going, yeah, this isn't quite a fit, this isn't working, and it's in fact not working, it's a turnoff? How did you then move forward in terms of this vision of what you, and the actuality of what you've created?
Well, it's been a long, long road because I would bring a lot of these thoughts and ideas to management when I was working in corporate, and they didn't see it. They didn't see what I saw. So it made me rethink my thinking, like maybe I'm wrong. But when I went through a divorce, I navigated that with a small group of other women and bright, smart, talented, hardworking women. Yet I heard them say things like, can I afford this divorce? I'm not quite sure of our income in the household. I never paid the bill, so I don't know what it costs. And it got me thinking, are women prepared for their financial future? So I knew what the experience was in the financial institutions. I could hear what these bright, talented women were saying. So I commissioned a researcher and had her dig through the data around where are financial institutions helping or not helping women today? Where do they stand? And how are women prepared for their financial future? I saw what I saw, but it wasn't a Barb says. So it came back that, and this is a quote from one of the most prominent articles that said, the insurance and financial industry wins the award as being the least sympathetic to women. Mm-hmm. And all the other data stated women are woefully underprepared for their financial future. And I thought, there is a huge disconnect here. Mm-hmm. And then I would add to that I, as the educator that I am, held many, many focus groups with women of different cultures, different ages, different income levels to really kind of just pick their brain and say, where are you at with this? How do you feel? And so many women, the first thing they would say to me was, they don't even look at me. Mm-hmm. All they want me to do is write a check and buy a product. Or if I'm with my husband, they just talk to my husband, so I don't even know why I'm at the table. I heard it over and over again, and I thought, this problem's becoming bigger than I thought. And everything that I learned ongoing just really solidified something needed to be done. And that's where I created the purse strings model.
So tell us, and as I'm listening, because I've heard the same things, they don't look at me. If there's a man in the room and he's the advisor, they don't look at me, they look at my husband. Even if I'm the one who's made the money, they look at the husband, and it just makes me angry. But anyway, so I'm so glad you created an alternative. And so tell us more about purse strings.
So the other funny story I want to add was, as I was navigating divorce and I'd be running through Costco or Target or stores with my daughter, I'd see women of retirement age bagging my groceries or handing out the treats. And I thought, I turned to my daughter and say, why are these women working these jobs, Maggie? And of course, she was in high school. She looked at me like, I have no idea, but let's get going. So I always pondered that, like, why is it because they need these jobs, or is this a social outlet or what? So I came across this amazing article in The Atlantic that really stated women of retirement age needed to cobble together several different jobs to meet their bills. So I thought, well, what I've learned was that women really didn't know where to go or who to turn to get smart, to get some information for themselves on basic budgeting, buying auto insurance, buying homeowners insurance, understanding what their net worth was, cash flow, how to pay for things, interest rates, simple interest, compound interest. So I thought, I'm an educator. I educate adults my whole life. So I built out a model where we provide free online tools and resources for women so they have a one-stop shop place to go. Either find the information, talk to an expert, or just reach out and ask a question if they are not getting it answered, so that they can find answers to their common everyday questions without having to be pushed a product or engage with a financial professional that they are wary of. Because the biggest issue, and I think you'll agree, is there's a huge trust factor or distrust factor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And our industry has not helped itself in terms of the roadblocks that it puts up for trusting different advisors or the ones providing the advice, really, unfortunately. So I love this. It's just so exciting to me. So I've gone to the site, I've looked through it's really well done. And when did it get started? And what have you seen since it's put up, since it's, and been launched?
Yeah, so I have a consulting practice. That's my main bread and butter. And so I launched Purse Strings to first educate women and really engage and build a community. And it started 5 years ago with the typical almost Tupperware model where women would come into the home and find kind of a comfy, cozy atmosphere where they could ask their questions, and we would teach one topic at a time. But to expedite and to really grow and share the information, we put everything online. So the first thing we did was make sure we had content, we had following. Women knew that there was this place to go called Purse Strings. They could get their questions answered. We started developing out our social media as more applications of social media were being developed. Instagram, the newest one that we're on. And we created quite a following to the extent where people would call me and say, Barb, okay, now I'm going through a divorce. Who can I go to? Who can I trust? Who do you have kind of in your Rolodex? And that's when we decided we have a really great following. Now we need to find the right financial professionals that can really work with the female market. So we do this in a few ways. We do have a course called Reach, Engage, and Earn the Female Dollar for those financial professionals who are unaware of what women need from their financial professional. However, there are so many people, men and women, in the financial industry who are already serving a female market with great experiences. So we look for those folks and we say, hey, we tell them about Purse Strings. Can we promote you to our communities of women? Because you're doing exactly what they need. There are people who will listen to them, allow them to ask questions, not tell them that, don't worry about it, sweetie, or try to hold their hand or dismiss them, but really treat them with the respect and dignity that they deserve. So we look at all things financial, not just insurance and financial planners, which are always a big part of the financial equation, but we look for lenders, we look for realtors, we look for attorneys, we look for divorce coaches, we look for money coaches, financial coaches. Anytime a woman needs to make a financial decision in her lifetime, we want to make sure that she is equipped with her own personal Rolodex of financial professionals who will be there and she can just reach out and engage with, called Purse Strings Approved Professional.
It's so great. I just love that whole network, and that I really appreciate the website in terms of the education that's there and the stepping stones of because I'm picturing one can have just so many questions and then it's immobilizing, right? It's just, where do I start? How does the website guide people?
Well, we want to make sure we meet women where they're at. Let me start there. So some women might be like my daughter, who's my partner, Maggie Nielsen. She really focuses on women who are coming out of college. They might have debt from college debt. They might not have any assets yet, any property, but they're high potential earners. And we provide a foundations course, Fearless Foundations course for women, any woman who finds themselves in a place that says, I don't even know where to begin. And this course is online, free, just grab it. And it walks you through, how do you set up a budget? How do I pay down my debt? How do I know which debt to pay most or first? What's the difference between simple and compound interest? How can I pay myself first? What is my net worth? It walks through just with worksheets so that they can start at the very beginning. Now, some people might say, I'm past that. I got all that, but I came into a windfall. I didn't know what to do with this money, which, side note, women are coming into the largest transference of wealth in history over the next 10 years or so, as you well know. So what do I do with it? How do I invest it? And many women are sitting on a lot of cash and not investing it, and it's not serving them. It's not growing. So we want to make sure that either with a course that we have or an Ask the Expert that we have online or any one of our financial professionals that are vetted, they can go through and peruse and look at. We are meeting women, whether they're fresh out of the gate or they're 2 million, 5 million plus, wherever they're at, we have resources and tools and professionals to help them.
And as we've talked, I mean, that's so great that, I mean, just, I'm not sure how you have time for consulting.
I know.
Because there's so much there. It's so rich. And that's not a pun. I mean, it really is very, very, there's so much there to explore. Where do you find the most engagement from women who utilize purse strings?
Well, it's been so interesting to watch because all the data will tell you, how important it is for women to really come to the table and start taking ownership of their money and being financially fearless. That's the outreach. That's the call. But what we're up against so often is this whole money mindset. Is you probably could speak to as well, Esther, is women are unsure about investing, about being able to make these decisions, about finding the right professional, about security for their family, about even talking about money because it's so cultural. If you're brought up in a family where money equated arguments, you never want to talk about money. Or money was impolite to talk about, then you never learned how to talk about money. So first and foremost, we want women to start talking about money. Money is your power. Every woman needs her own power. And when you use your money, you're really voting for what you stand for by the purchases you make. And oh, by the way, women influence 95% of the purchases in the household. So women are very, very powerful when it comes to money, yet they don't really use their power to the degree they really, really could. So we're really opening that whole money conversation and reframing, how we look at money. Money's power. It's okay to talk about. In fact, talking about money is cool. It's super cool. And it makes you powerful and it makes you in control and it makes you fearless. And no one can take your money from you without your authority. So that's the messages that we're heeding out there to women.
I mean, that's just so fabulous because it's a lot of what often people think of the work that we do with Gates Pass Advisors. Yes, we have the definite technical strength and experience, decades of experience and all of that, but it's also that ability, which I hear you're doing with purse strings as well, to have a safe place, to just create a safe place to talk some things through where it's okay to say, I don't know, I'm not sure, I'm thinking of this, and to not feel like it's someone's just going to slap a technical answer down and say, that's what you need to do, which is what I hear was your experience with working with corporate. It was like, well, this is our product, so it's got to fit this regardless.
Well, and whose objectives is it, right? They want to sell you their product. That's the end goal. They want you to buy their product so that they can meet their quota. I mean, your product might be perfect for you. Their product may be absolutely perfect for you and might be absolutely the right thing. However, if you're not open to conversation, a dialogue, a Q&A, a what if, what else type of conversation, then it's very linear. Whereas women, our lives change over our years. And women are always concerned about the security of their family. That's front and foremost. It's not normally the ROI, which sometimes a lot of people want to go to right away. It's about security and do I understand what I'm buying and how will it help me? How will it help my family? As you well know, Esther, it's relationship.
Yeah, it is. And so much, unfortunately, and there's great professionals. I know that they're there. I use them. I engage with them. But that's something that the insurance agencies or the insurance products can really go for is like, well, if you have this, you will have this security. And just being able to look at, that can be very true. I have a love-hate relationship with insurance. I love what I've seen it do in my life and clients' lives. And it's also very hard to pay for something that you hope you'll never use. Exactly. And I've often found that it's a conversation that we have to work through. And allowing that conversation that maybe that the person says, well, how can we work this? How can we have some of this and some of that rather than just this one thing? And it's some of the things that I'm so excited about, the work that you do in the foundation that you have out there and the connections that you're making, because it's women are smart, they're powerful, they're incredibly in great leadership. And then it's hard to run up against the brick wall sometimes of, gosh, I'm not sure if I should pay off the house. And sometimes if they go to their friends, that's one option. And yet having an independent party that can know the whole story, and that is that trust. Maybe it's the exact right thing to pay off the house, but maybe there's something behind you or me that we're not seeing, that someone else can see that and shed light on that. And that's what I hear a lot of Purse Strings is about, is shedding light and opening the space for the conversation.
Exactly, because everybody's situation is different. I mean, there's no generic answer to any of that. It's really taking a look at the whole picture. And, I was having this conversation the other day, and this woman said to me, it's kind of like we've been had. They're scamming us all the time because, I was talking to somebody about spousal IRA, and her jaw just hit the ground. She's like, wait, tell me more about that. Because as women leave the workforce and they're not contributing to Social Security or other investments, as you well know, you're the expert in this whole arena. She's like, how come nobody told me about it? Yeah. Why didn't I know this? Or Social Security, which is another thing I'm going to dig more into with an expert around benefits for widows, because it's the baby boomers age and that whole swell of beautiful people, baby boomers age, and we find ourselves with so many widows. How are they going to manage their monies? Because if they weren't at the table and having questions, and people weren't planning for women to age alone, which is a big, big deal in my mind. Women are going to age alone. They're going to be solo. No doubt about it. Stats will tell you that. Are they prepared financially to really understand how they can manage their money at a time when it's expensive? Esther, you know this. You're the expert. It's the medical costs are expensive. Caring for yourself as you age is expensive. Are there monies there to cover this?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's such a trying
services.
Time. Yes.
And it is. And bringing in services is expensive. And then what they do, is it really what's needed? And nobody wants, often as women, we don't want to leave our homes. Many people don't want to leave. We don't. But then bringing care in is expensive. What do we need it for? How do we keep ourselves as strong and healthy, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, as well as financially and physically before, so that we can make it as vibrant a long life as possible? All of those things are really, really critical questions that if we just focused on, well, just invest in this much stock, that much bond, and, everything will be, it's like that's such a limited view.
Oh, exactly. And, it's that whole question, what are we going to do about mom? Well, we have a plan in place. We made these decisions up front. We've got this coverage. We've already answered that question. Why not it be that? We know what we're going to do, and mom's going to have a great retirement and great life, and we don't have to worry. That's what you want. You want to make sure those decisions are done up front and planned for. It's so important. That's why these women, I circle back to my initial devastation every time I went to run an errand. I thought, I don't want this woman bagging my groceries. I want to see her rolling around on the floor with her grandchildren. So I said to my daughter, I remember just saying, enough. I can't see this anymore. And I know that I have these tools and resources that I can give to women and put out there. And I feel it's my mission to ensure that women have what they need, tools and resources. I'm not a financial professional. I do not sell any financial products or services. I'm kind of the go-between that says, hey, let's talk about this. Here's some information that you can use. It's understandable. It's not dense speak. You see a lot of financial information in that way. It's manageable. It's in small bites. It answers your questions. But, oh, by the way, we have these fabulous resources, Purse Strings approved professionals who get it. They've been in your shoes. They've had experiences like you're experiencing. This is their expertise now, and you can trust them.
It's great. So it does lead to that empowerment. I love your message of empowerment for women who are the largest market on the planet, who do direct so much. And what do we have? What is our economy in this country and other countries based on? The developed countries, it's more than 70% consumer based. spending money at the store. That's women that we that often. Let me just ask you one last question before we close. So was there any difficulty ever with Maggie, like when you needed to talk about your own financial situation? Did that flow easily given your knowledge, or did you find you had some hiccups at all or discomfort places that you found?
You mean talking about money with my children?
Yeah.
It was kind of always an open subject. We never shared what our income was, but we always talked about what things cost, paying attention to the cost of goods. Can we go on a vacation this year? It was always kind of whether it was in the budget or we would budget for it. When she went away to school and my son went away to school, we assessed, not like, hey, have at it. Where do you want to go? No, it was, we saved some money for you, but my children also had a skin in the game. So they had to pay a part of their college education on their own for graduate school. So they also had some skin in the game, and they knew that it was important to attend to the finances and to ensure that they were budgeting and they had the allotted amount. Now, I come from a really, really big family, and we never really had more than we needed. And my children had plenty. And it was funny, one day, my daughter, who was in graduate school at the time, she said, God, I got to go to class. It was like a Friday night class. I'm like, that's a drag. She's like, yeah, but I figured it out. If I don't go to this one class, it's $800 that I'm missing out on worth of learning. Like, she figured out cost per class session.
Wow.
And she knew what the investment was. So off she went. And I thought, all right, I think we got through to her. So, you just have to know the value of money and what's important to you and to plan for things.
Yeah.
It's tough though, right? I mean, we can buy things so too easily with a click or a swap or this or that. No one's paying cash for anything anymore. So it's really easy to get yourself in trouble. So it's about standing back and really making a conscious decision about saying, am I going to use my power here or am I going to use my power there? So really looking at money as power.
Yes. And directing your energy and that power, what will really feed you the best.
Yes, exactly. You got it.
Well, thank you so much, Barbara. This has been fabulous. Again, I feel like I could talk to you for a long, long time, but we have to close. For those who are interested in purse strings, how would they connect?
So they can find us at pursestrings.co. It's not .com, it's .co. And we're on all social media as pursestrings.co. So we have a Facebook group for financially fearless women. We'd love for everyone to join that. And that's where you can also grab that free course, Financial Foundations for Women. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Pinterest even. So we try to hang out where the ladies hang out and make sure that they're getting the information they need and the resources they need.
Fabulous. Well, thank you again so much. And if it's just wonderful that you're doing this, I'm so happy to support what you're doing. It's so, so important. And again, everyone, it's pursestrings.co. And if you'd like more information or to connect with me at gatespassadvisors.com, hit connect, contact me, I think, and send us what it is that you're looking for and what you need. And we're all about connecting you with what will help you with your strong financial foundation and future. So thanks again, Barbara.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Barbara, thank you so much. This was an incredibly powerful message. Obviously, Esther, you guys could talk for hours because you both have such a strong message for women and women in transition, and everything that you both do for that group, I think is phenomenal. So Barbara, thank you so much again for being on the show. Esther, of course, thank you for bringing her on the show. And our last thank you always goes to the listening audience. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Women in Wealth podcast with Esther Szabo. If you have not subscribed to the podcast yet, please click the subscribe now button below. This way, when Esther comes out with a new podcast, it'll show up directly on your listening device. This makes it much easier to share these podcasts with your friends and family. Again, thank you so much for listening today. For everyone at Gates Pass Advisors, this is Eric Johnson reminding you to live your best day every day. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Women and Wealth podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you receive notifications of new podcasts as they become available. Check out the website at www.gatespassadvisors.com for more information. This content is developed from sources believed to be providing accurate information. The information in this material is not intended as tax or legal advice. Please consult legal or tax professionals for specific information regarding your individual situation. The opinions expressed and material provided are for general information and should not be considered a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security.